Welcome to episode 8 of our KNX Top Tip series. Today I'd like to talk to you about constant light control, which is an extremely powerful feature that we built into our KNX motion sensor. So let's jump in and have a look. So if we go here, we change the function type to constant light control. You will notice that we have quite a few parameters here to configure constant light control. The good news is you shouldn't, for a default setup, need to adjust many of these parameters for a basic constant light control setup. The important thing, however, though, will be to connect all 4 objects here to your dimming actuator. So we have the 1-bit switching output, we have a 4-bit brighter darker output, we have a dimming value output, and very importantly, we have the dimming feedback value input. So the motion sensor needs to know what the current dimming level is on the dimmer. So that's why we connect the dimming feedback value input. So let's have a look at some of the features that we've got here inside the constant light control. The first feature is the ability to dynamically adjust the lighting level in the room using a keypad. So if you've got a keypad in the room, that keypad could be sending either 1 bit on or off, or it can be sending 4-bit dim up and dim down telegrams. So let's imagine we walk into the room, the motion sensor picks up our movement and it turns the lights on. The first thing it's going to do is regulate the light automatically in the room to 500 lux. But let's say, for example, the client suddenly thinks that actually 500 lux is a bit bright in this room, I want to turn the lights down. In this instance, he'd go over to his keypad and he'd press the dim down button on the keypad, and the dimming actuator would start to dim the lights down. Because our motion sensor is also connected to that 4-bit group address, it's monitoring the 4-bit telegram, so it stops automatically regulating the lights until the dimming has finished. When the dimming is finished, we've got 2 options. One option is to maintain that new lux level. So we basically set a temporary brightness set point in the room. So the client's gone down, he's dimmed the lights down, the lights have dimmed down, and now it's only 100 lux in the room. So we take a reading from the lux sensor at the moment that the dimming stops, and that's our new temporary set point, and it will maintain now 100 lux. Or we maintain the new dimming level. So in this instance, the client goes up to the keypad, he dims the lights down, and he dims the dimming actuator down to 5%. And now that 5% is maintained. So even if the windows open and there's suddenly loads of lights flooding into the room, it will still be maintained at, for example, 5% or whatever percentage the client has set using the dim up, dim down. We also have some other options here. So one of the options is the action on timeout. So by default, the action on timeout, as you would expect, would be to turn the lights off. But we've built in a really nice feature into the constant light controller here where we can set lights to a standby dim level. So let's imagine we walk into the room, the lights come on and the lights are regulated at 500 lux. But then the timeout expires, so after 10 minutes of no movement, that light's would normally turn off. What we can do is set to a standby dim level to prevent the client being plunged into darkness. So we can set a standby dimming level in absolute percentage terms. So we can say, hey, when the lights go off, instead of turning them off, let's just set it to 5%. So that's basically going to make our lights go to 5% when the timeout expires. And then we can say, well, how long should that standby timeout be on for? Should it always be on? Should it constantly be on at 5%, like during the night? And then the next time when someone comes in the morning, it then regulates back up to the 500 lux? Or should that standby dimming level also have a secondary timeout? And we have the ability to do that here. So we can say, turn off after 10 minutes. So in this instance, someone walks into the room, the lights come on and are regulated at 500 lux. After 10 minutes, the standby dimming level is engaged at 5%. And then after an additional 10 minutes of no movement, the lights are turned off. So again, a really powerful feature to make sure that the client doesn't get plunged into darkness once the timeout expires. So there's all sorts of other parameters here as well, which we won't go into in today's video, but maybe we'll address that in a second video. Thanks for watching.